Once again, I got back to reading the Illinois State Constitution. This is the law of the state of Illinois. Section 22, Right to Arms. Subject only to the police power, the right of the individual citizen to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, also dealing with the right to keep and bear arms, has been held not to restrict state governments in relation to the residents. Because of that, and to ensure a personal right to keep arms in addition to the collective right to an armed militia guaranteed by the Second Amendment, the 1970 Constitutional Convention proposed this section. The committee explanation stated that a citizen has the right to possess and make reasonable use of arms that law-abiding persons commonly employ for purpose of recreation or the protection of person and property. Laws that attempt to ban all possession or use of such arms would be invalid. However, the delegate who explained the committee proposal to full convention stated 4 times on the floor that it would not prevent a complete ban on handguns. A nearly total ban on handguns in Morton Grove was upheld under this section by the U.S. Court of Appeals in Chicago. The Illinois Supreme Court, by vote 4-3 vote, also held that the Morton Grove ordinance did not violate this section. Vigorous dissents by the minority judges illustrate the closeness of the question. The U.S. Court of Appeals also held that Chicago's ban on buying handguns beginning in 1982 did not violate the U.S. Constitution, affirming a federal district court decision that had also upheld the ordinance against attack under this section. Remember, I am reading from what was and is possibly, but what will be is truly your state and federal law. None of these Nazi rules and Nazi explanations. Remember, I'm the great-grandniece of Adolf Hitler. Is there any question that I understand my family history more than most in my family? Including the Nazis? I will interrupt once again. Who has known the mind of God? Who has been God's counselor? That God should repay them. For from him, and to him, and through him, and for him, by him, blah, 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 be all things forevermore. Okay. The U.S. Court of Appeals also held that the Chicago's ban on buying handguns beginning in 1982 did not violate the U.S. Constitution, or affirming a federal district court decision that had also upheld the ordinance against attack under the section. Illinois' appellate court decision have held that this section does not invalidate laws denying a firearm owner identification card requiring to buy a firearm legally to anyone who has been a patient in a mental institution at any time in the past 5 years, and prohibiting carrying a loaded firearm in a municipality except on one's own premise. Section 23, Fundamental Principles. A frequent recurrence to the fundamental principles of civil government is necessary to preserve the blessing of liberty. The frequent recurrence to the fundamental principles of civil government is necessary to preserve the blessings of liberty. These blessings cannot endure unless the people recognize their corresponding individual obligation and responsibilities. This section is a constitutional homily. No, it means those who are writing besides what is truly law, don't understand it because they're dim-witted. Section 24, Rights Retained. The enumeration in this Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the individual citizens of the state. This section, based on the 9th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, is designed to prevent any inference that an existing right should not be that an existing right should not be protected simply because it is not specifically mentioned in the Bill of Rights. The judicially created federal rights of privacy was said to be based partly on the 9th Amendment, but no rights have been specifically declared by any Illinois court based on this section. They're always about specifics. Like the devil, because the devil likes to strain gnats through a sieve. So, Illinois, Illinoisans, the United States of America, we the people. Blessings. Enjoy. Peace.